Welcome to In Touch Crime Beat. I'm Officer Don with Fayette Commonwealth's Attorney Ray Larson.
Out of jail, okay? Don't mess up.
And those are the people, those repeat offenders, the ones that go to prison. And
I say we're the #1 rated radio show in the whole. I'm Officer Don with Commonwealth's Attorney Ray Larson, and Ray looks like the Marshal Service has got their man.
You know, the Marshals Service, they got a fugitive task force in central Kentucky, but the Marshal Service all over the country, one of their jobs is to locate fugitives.
And what makes a person a fugitive? Exactly.
Well, somebody is obligated to be in court, for example, and they choose not to be there. They run from that obligation.
So the difference in a fugitive is someone who's been convicted or somebody who has a warrant on them, I would guess, as opposed to someone who's a suspect, correct? So the marshals go after people that the courts say, hey, bring this person before me. This person needs to be back here. So that makes you a fugitive.
That's right.
And fugitives can tend to be a little more dangerous because, you know, sometimes they know what's facing them.
Jonathan Buckley. Jonathan Buckley was accused of raping and sodomizing a young woman. He made the decision to videotape his crime. And of course, there it was when the police investigated this thing, and he was in the middle of a trial. He had been released on bond. His bail was set at $150,000, and he had a relative, an uncle I think, who said he would be his surety, meaning that if he didn't show up, that he would pay $150,000. Well, the jury was out deliberating on the guilt or innocence of this guy, and Jonathan Buckley decided just to beat feet. He just left. And
got an ankle bracelet on.
Well, he cut that off and left it.
Left in the street, and then got out of Dodge.
And Lexington too.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is he's on the run for 307 days. But who's counting, right? And the Marshal Service, and you got on it. And that's what they do, and they do it very quietly. They do it, they're not in a flash in the pan mode. What they do is they quietly go about trying to find the person. They do it through cell phones, they do it through confidential informants, they do it through all sorts of things. And guess what? Yesterday they caught this guy about 3:30 or so out in Wyoming.
And you know, a lot of times with the marshals, they have to give someone enough rope to hang themselves because, you know, once the guy gets away, and you get into that first 48 hours, and you don't know what kind of help a person's getting, whether a person's getting help from family or friends, someone's hiding them out. Sometimes it's best to just sort of lay low and watch and listen and make the person comfortable, and then, you know, knock on their door when they're least expecting it. And that appears to be how they handled this one. They stayed on it. But it sort of died down in the press a little bit, but they were there. And you know, what makes the Marshal Service special and important to law enforcement is, you know, once a person leaves your jurisdiction, then you need someone who has the connections in all over to reach out and grab them. And that's what the marshals are for. They step in and go, look, we got this. You know, this guy's out of state. We'll take care of it.
Let's assume for a minute that you're that you're still a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is in Wyoming.
Yeah.
You can't go out there and arrest him because you got jurisdiction that extends. Well, actually, you got jurisdiction that extends throughout the state, but your jurisdiction mostly would be in Fayette County or the city of Lexington. And the Marshal Service is a federal agency, and it has jurisdiction nationwide across state lines. And that's one of the real values. The other value is the federal system has, they have access to federal wiretaps and that sort of thing. So if they have any kind of telephone information, they can connect to that,
Mhm.
and they can.
No, they can get into your bank accounts, which, you know, when you're looking for fugitives, we're okay with it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, congratulations to the Marshal Service and all their hard work. Also had a detective here in town. Is it Reed?
Reed Bowles.
Reed worked on this too. He didn't give up and worked with the marshals to make this happen. And I talked to the rape victim. We normally don't give the names of rape victims, but Jessica Merritt came forward. She told her story. She wanted people to know so this guy could be caught and that he wouldn't hurt anyone else. She texted me yesterday as soon as she heard from Reed saying, hey, they got him. And she's so relieved. She's got twins on the way.
Right.
So she said, this is great. I'm doing July, and now I can relax a little bit knowing that this guy's in custody, and I can sleep better at night. So the best ending we could have in this particular case. Now what's going to happen? Buckley is what, there'll be an extradition hearing, or how does it work? Do they just bring him back here?
They'll bring him back. The Marshal Service will transport him back here. And then he'll go to Fayette Circuit Court where the jury was deliberating. You know, Todd Bradbury was the primary prosecutor in the case. And he has since gone to work with the U.S. Attorney's
I
Office.
didn't know that.
I always kind of like to say when somebody goes to the U.S. Attorney's Office that they retire. And we call it the Extreme Makeover Trial Edition.
Yeah.
And it's our web page is completely opinionated.
Yeah.
And I don't apologize for it. I am pro law enforcement, holding people responsible for their behavior, and that website reflects it, and it ticks off